Here's the number one mistake 50 and 60-year-olds make. First thing to think about at 50 is, do you want a facelift or not? Should you invest in chemical peels after the age of 50 and 60? Will my retinol kill my facial fat? What device does work? Does it produce scar tissue? Should you be on estrogen creams? Hey, what about injectable amino acids? I'm Dr. Rajani, and today I'm bringing you this video from Korea. And the question I was asked was, hey, what works? What should I do at the age of 50? And for many of you, it'll be 60, because at 60, you're still looking like you're 50. It's common these days. But what should you and what shouldn't you do? And we'll address in this video. I'm going to talk a little bit about skincare. We're going to talk about home devices. How much energy should you spend on home devices? And speaking of devices, again, this is right in Korea. Check out the lineup in the morning time. I went to get breakfast around 9:30, 10 in the morning. Of course, I'm jet lagged. I pop over. I'm saying, what's this lineup all about? And these are people lined up to get into this device store. And you can't see it, but there's 2 stories to this store, and it's full of handheld devices. I did go in and check them out. There's some RF, some radio frequency, some ultrasound, some devices even combining both. And probably the best device that I've ever seen or come across, I'll share with you in this video. And it combines RF and ultrasound in the same device. I'm going to talk about chemical peels and in-clinic procedures. Now, the first thing to think about at 50, I'm going to pick a street that's not so busy. But the first thing to think about at 50 is, do you want a facelift or not? Because at 50, that's the time when everyone says, hey, I wouldn't mind a little nip, a little tuck. And the thing is, if someone were to walk over and say, hey, it's inexpensive, and I know someone will do a great job, and there won't be many side effects, if any, would you do it? Most people would say at 50, yes. So first, make that decision. Yes, you do not want a facelift. Okay. Or maybe you do want a facelift, but you want to maintain. This video will help. But make that decision first. And maybe you want to put off a facelift. Instead of 50, you want to have it at 60. And that would be me. I'd be that person. I want to have one. So that's the first thing. The second thing to understand is, and I was just talking, I was just on a call, a long call. We were talking cholesterol and high cholesterol and LDLs, and everyone's being put on a statin. I'm not a big statin fan. And heart disease, I believe, comes from inflammation. And the number one thing you can do to prevent it, and this has to do with aging, the top 4 or 5 things: sleep, exercise, don't smoke, and maintain a healthy mind and body and balance. And those, so we're going to assume all those things in this video, but those are the things. Have your house in order in that way before you think of interventions. Let's talk skincare, and I'll bop around a little bit, but let's start with skincare. Yes, a good retinol, a good glycolic, and you can alternate days. Double cleansing. Of course, I'm here in Korea. Maybe this was invented here, but double cleansing and oil cleansing is very important here. And that's extremely important, because what you're setting yourself up for is clear, clean skin, so your actives can work. So double cleansing, not going to bed with makeup, is oh so important. Here's the number one mistake 50 and 60-year-olds make. You start getting more lines and wrinkles, your estrogen goes down, you try and get rid of them quicker, better, more, so you use more product. And what do you get? You get inflammation. You over exfoliate. Remember I said inflammation leads to heart disease, not necessarily cholesterol and LDL. Same thing on the face, it's inflammation. So the number one thing to do is double cleanse, never go to sleep with makeup, set yourself up for success, use your retinols and glycolics, but do not overuse them, because so many have the question, will my retinol kill my facial fat? And the answer is yes and no. Retinols do not kill your facial fat. Inflammation does. So when people overuse retinols and glycolics, then yes, it can certainly kill your facial fat. So that is something to consider. Do not overdo it. And should you be on estrogen creams? Yes, I do like them. So no, you do not need to get fancy with your skincare. Of course, many people do 12, 14, 16 steps here in Korea for their skincare. But no, you do not need to do that, and you can keep to the basics. I will say the other thing to invest in that people don't spend on, a great moisturizer. Oh, check this out. Let's cross the street and take a look. This is one of my favorite stores. I found one of the first days I was here, and they focus on sheet masks, facial sheet masks, but particularly whitening, so skin lightening and whitening with snail mucin that I often talk about. But the whole store is full of these 10 packs of face masks. Talk about ultra hydrating. This is what they look like. They come in these packages with multiple in there, and they just make you look like you want to buy them. They kind of look like candy, don't they? Well, I bought some. I use them. They're incredible. And a lot of people scrimp on this or don't think it's worthwhile or anything moisturizes. But as you get older, as the estrogen goes down, you need a better moisturizer than when you were younger. So spend time on that. And if you don't want to spend a lot of money, or you think moisturizer is a waste of time, study face oils. Because if you know face oils, and I have many videos on those, they can work well along with a less expensive moisturizer. So, but skincare will not lift your face. It is maintenance, but it can make you look amazing and is preventive, of course, sunscreen. Now let's go to devices, because of course, here in Korea, you go to a clinic, there might be 20 or 30 devices. Which ones work and which ones shouldn't you do? So if you look at RF devices, if you think Thermage, high intensity focus ultrasound, Ulthera, those really are maintenance and collagen building. They're not going to lift your face. Yes, 20 or 30% of people will get a lift and a lifting effect. But if you go in there and spend your $4,000, $8,000, that's not what you spend here in Korea for those. So people are more apt to get them. And if they don't do exactly what they want to do, they're not feeling like they're out of all that money. But if you are spending $4,000 or $5,000 on those things, then you're looking for a facelift. It's going to happen in 20 or 30% of people. You'll be disappointed. What device does work? And we were looking at many of these devices here in Korea, RF microneedling. That's the one you want to work. Here's the problem. That's the one you want to use. Here's the problem. Just like a car can be great, but it can be terrible. It can do great things. It can take you point A to point B, but it can also harm people. And if you have a drunk driver, it's even worse. So RF microneedling will reduce fat in places. It will tighten in places. So the driver of your device is key. But if you're picking and choosing and you have a great provider that does hundreds of RF microneedling and you need a single device that you're going to pick to spend your $5,000 on, RF microneedling is it. I'm going to switch streets here. It is getting busy. Let's go down this street. That's even busier. Check that out. We're not going down there. Maybe we'll cruise down this way on this same street. So RF microneedling, that's the one to spend your time on. Now, let's talk injectables for a minute, because a lot of people have asked me lately, let's go down this little hallway here. A lot of people have asked me lately, hey, what about injectable amino acids, okay? So injectable amino acids, or PDRN, which is separate, okay? PDRN or PN polynucleotides, polydeoxyribonucleotides, are injectables that are popular. They're not a facelift. They are maintenance. They're great. They give skin glow. They're great in Europe, particularly here in Asia, because people come in with great skin and they want better skin. They're not coming in looking for a facelift from injectable amino acids with hyaluronic acid that's not cross-linked. Think Sonicos, okay? But biostimulators are where it's at. So which ones do we think about? There's something called PLLA, poly-L-lactic acid, and it's known as Sculptra in the United States and in many different countries. But there's also something you guys asked me about called Lanluma. And Lanluma, oh, we're dead-ended here, check this out. And Lanluma, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet from influencers who are saying that it's better than Sculptra and all these things. And I'm not tied to any one. I actually work a little bit too with the company that makes Lanluma. And the ingredients in the vial of Lanluma are the same as what's in Sculptra. It's just different dosing. So you just have to add a little more Sculptra and you have essentially Lanluma. So you have PLLA in the vial, sodium mannitol, and carboxymethylcellulose. So don't be misled by people saying they had better results with Lanluma than Sculptra. That's not possible. But I do like both of those. Lanluma didn't even apply for FDA approval in the United States. So you can't get it here, and I haven't seen that they applied for FDA approval. Again, I work with that company. I'll ask them. I'm going to see them at the aesthetic show coming up here in 2 weeks in Las Vegas. Now, here's another biostimulator company called ZQ2. The PLLA is actually water soluble, so you can use it like mesotherapy. This is very different than Sculptra. Again, they'll be in Las Vegas at the aesthetic show. I'll be meeting with them if you want to know more information. This is a Chinese company. Now, what do you want to add to PLLA or Sculptra to make it work even better? PRF, so platelet-rich fibrin, which is a biostimulator. But why that? Okay, and combining them, well, there's a few reasons. Number one is it has exosomes. You guys know exosomes. Yours all natural. It has growth factors. Yours all natural. And mesenchymal stem cells. Yours all natural. Something like RENUVA, which you guys always ask me about. My patients don't want that because it comes from fat cells purified of other people. So why get it from other people when you can take your own? And that's what my patients desire, so I do not use it, RENUVA, you guys asked me about. But you have PRF with Sculptra. So the other reason that that's an important combination is you never put Sculptra in or around the lip or around the eye or the tear trough. But you do absolutely put PRF in those areas, and we also have PRF gel if you want a more robust product. So that will lift, that will tighten, and it's studied. There's more and more recent studies showing that. And you'll ask me now, does it produce scar tissue? Many plastic surgeons use Sculptra and perform facelifts. That's all you have to ask. If someone says, oh, it produced scar tissue, and also, will they accept you for a facelift if you had Sculptra? I've never heard of someone not taking your $50,000 to $70,000 for a facelift because you've had Sculptra before. And I usually don't do it at 6 months or even a year before someone's getting a facelift. However, I heard a very prominent facial plastic surgeon the other day saying that he just waits 2 to 3 months after getting Sculptra until doing a facelift. But if you know you're getting a facelift, wait 6 or 8 months. Same with PDO threads. Okay, let's talk home devices for skin. So, home devices, how much time should you spend on home devices for your skincare? And not a lot in general. If you have time, if you're sitting around at home and you love skincare and you have time, you can spend 30 to 40 minutes 3 times a week, then yes, you can do RF, radio frequency, ultrasound. Oh, what's going on here? Check this. I don't know. Getting busy. Then yes, if you have that time to spend on your home devices, absolutely do it. For most people, you want to set it and forget it. Think about Korean sheet masks. Now that's not a device, but it's something you can set and forget. Think about LED panels for your body and face, or LED masks. You put them on, you can do other things. They take 10 minutes. And if you do want to use devices, one that I tested here in Korea has RF and ultrasound. Probably the best one I've ever used or seen, and we measured output levels and safety. Now here is what I think is probably the best device on the market. A lot of research went into this one. It's called the RENUVA or RENUVA. It's from Rejuran, and you'll know them from their polynucleotides. Their salmon DNA or salmon sperm facial. But these guys do a lot more than just PN polynucleotides. They do skincare. But this device, this handheld device that comes with a coupling gel, which I don't have here. It's in my checked on luggage and I'm in my hotel now. This has a battery in it, so I take things with a battery in my carry-on. And what this has is ultrasound, as well as it has RF in one single device, and it's very tunable. I'll do a complete review on it if you guys want at some point, but I've tested it, I tried it, and the RENUVA, they put a lot of research and money into that device, and it's probably one of the best I've seen. And that saves time because you're getting RF and you're getting high intensity focused ultrasound at a one device. The most expensive device, $1,500, I think I've seen here in Korea, but they're huge. People do them, but people also do 15 steps of their skincare. If you talk to people here, to do a 12-step skincare routines from cleansing. They'll use 3 different cleansers, different ones for their eyes, face, and then an oil cleanse, and then a regular cleanse, and then micellar water, and then a toner before they even put skincare on. So if you're in that camp, heck yeah, you can use home devices, get to know it, use it judiciously, but no matter what, it's going to take you 20-30 minutes 2 to 3 times a week. So think LEDs, that's probably the highest bang for your buck right now. So don't spend a lot of time. Korean sheet masks, of course, I'm here. They had in my hotel room when I arrived, there's 4 of them. So they use things like sheet masks, and that's going to hydrate, make you look good instantly, and allow all your skincare ingredients that are more aggressive, like your retinols and glycolics, to work better, but also emoliate, hydrate, and help with your skin barrier. So that's my opinion on home devices overall for most people. But no doubt, they're all over. I would say Korea here I've seen more home devices than any other country I traveled to. And last year I was in 26 countries last year. And they're more popular here than anywhere else I've been to. Now, what about chemical peels? Should you invest in chemical peels after the age of 50 and 60? 100% yes. They'll tighten your skin. They'll give you a little bit of lifting if you're consistent with them. But again, it's not a facelift. It's part of collagen banking. It's part of a skincare routine. But here's the one thing they're really going to help you with: brown spots and sunspots. And one of the things you see here in Korea, people have amazing confluent skin. So they're very attuned. When I go to 7-Eleven and grab a drink or something, one whole shelf in that 7-Eleven is dedicated to brown spot skincare, brown spot removal. And people go just grab one, put it on there, and then go to the bar. And in fact, if you want to know how ubiquitous it is here, I was at the Palace. I went to see the Palace today, and there was what seemed to be a plastic surgery expo or an aesthetic expo. And there were doctors lined up. Only doctors can provide injectables, Ulthera, Thermage here in Korea. And they were lined up doing consults right out in the open. So what you see is people don't mind talking about their aesthetics. I want a little different chin. I want a different jawline. I want my nose done. I want a nose bridge. People just talk about that like I'm talking about aesthetics here. But this was wide out in the open, everyone getting their facial consults done at some type of expo that they just set up at the Palace here in Korea. So it's talked about. So if you're over 50 and 60, I can't end this video without telling you something so important, that is hormone balance. You really, see if we can get out here. You really need to know your hormones, and of course your skin barrier, your skin thickness, and your facial fat pads are going to be dependent upon your hormones and hormone balance. And someone asked me this question the other day: are your periods a good measure that you're still having high estrogen? No. You'll still have your cycle. Here we are out here talking about this in the middle of nowhere, but yes, you'll still get your cycle and have a low estrogen level. So that's not a good measure. I'm 56, 57, still cycling? No, go get it measured. And if anything, it will give you a good rough measure of maybe 2-3 years from now. Even if your levels are good, you'll know the relative number, so you see where it went to. But of course, if I were to tell you that a single entity thinned your skin, created sag, killed your fat pads, caused new acne and hair growth, and you could measure it and then consider correcting it based on your family history and your own risk tolerances, you'd say, what is that? And that's your hormones, so you have to pay attention to them. And if you don't want to go on bioidentical hormone replacement, you have many options for things like Tongkat LE, ashwagandha, exercise, high intensity exercise, and then remeasuring your levels. It's not going to pop your estrogen way up, but it will help balance your hormones and optimize your skin for your journey. Now, what about PDO thread lifting? Now, I like PDO threads a lot, and I think they're going to make a comeback, but they're not a facelift. And so what you want to do, you want to do about 12 threads, 12 lifting threads, molded threads, and you're going to do that every 12 to 18 months along with biostimulators if you're 50 or 60 and you want the maximal lift you can get. So there is a little bit of discomfort involved. There's a little bit of downtime involved, but if you don't want that facelift, then that's very acceptable to most people. And the newer threads that we have out now provide amazing results. I just walked into this nice little park here, almost no one here, so hopefully I'm allowed in here. But this is gorgeous. It's a brick park, but it's a park. So thread lifts, I'm a proponent of them, and I think the key is expectations, being a good candidate, not having excessive sag. You need to see an expert that knows how to place them. And then knowing if you're getting a facelift, maybe you don't get your thread lift that year. So it gives you maybe 6 months to 8 months time frame between your threads and your facelift. And remember, if someone's going to put 100 threads in your face, smooth threads for collagen lifting, 200 threads, that's a little overkill. Go for injectable biostimulators, because remember, how are threads working? Yes, they're stimulating a bit of fibrosis. Some people have scar tissue, type 1-3 collagen, and that's how they work. So if you're looking at a thread lift and you're going to get all these hundreds of threads, why not put a water in as a carrier where your biostimulator can spread all around, rather than going with 100 pokes in your face? So consider that. So you're now going to want to watch this video on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and one down here on natural ways to boost your hormones and your collagen. Stay tuned here from Korea. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.